Okay, let's get right into it. Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we give you the knowledge you need fast, turning a whole stack of sources into real understanding.
And today's deep dive is for anyone who's ever felt, just a little bit lost in the beautiful chaos of the English language.
Absolutely. We are tackling one of the biggest hurdles in communication. Those phrases that just refuse to make literal sense.
We're calling it the idiom equation because if you try to translate these things word for word, you're just doomed.
You are. So our mission today is to master some of these essential phrases by cracking that very equation. The normal rule is, words add up to a meaning.
But idioms just throw that rule book out the window.
They really do.
And that's the core idea we have to get our heads around. The idiom equation is basically this. Word A plus word B does not equal the literal meaning you see.
So the total is different from the sum of its parts.
Completely different. The figurative meaning is just totally disconnected from the words you're actually hearing.
And that disconnect is where all the confusion comes from.
Mm-hmm.
I think the real moment of mastery is when you stop seeing the words.
Yes.
You see that literal picture, a cat jumping out of a bag, and you just know, okay, that's useless for figuring this out.
That is it, exactly. The technique is to actively separate that visual from the real meaning.
Yeah.
And once you hear the story behind it, the why it became a placeholder, it just sticks.
It's like a mental shortcut.
For sure.
So we have 9 essential idioms from the sources to break down with this method. We've organized them into 3 categories to make it a little easier.
Smart. What are they?
First up, truth and talk, which is all about how we share information. Then we'll go inward to body and mind, so health and mental states.
Okay.
And we'll wrap up with life situations, which covers events and setting boundaries.
That's a great structure. Let's jump in.
All right, first category. Truth and talk. This is all about revealing secrets or, hiding them. And the most famous one has to be our first idiom.
Let me guess. Let the cat out of the bag.
That's the one. And if we're using our equation, the literal image is just a pet leaving a container.
Which tells you nothing about secrets. It's just absurd.
So what is the story here? Why a cat? Why a bag?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. The phrase is tied to a much, much older saying, to buy a pig in a poke.
A pig in a poke. The poke being a sack.
Exactly. Back in, say, the 17th century, you'd have these dishonest traders at the market. They'd try to sell you a valuable piglet, but they'd swap it for a worthless cat inside the sack.
Ah, so the scam is literally inside the bag.
Precisely. And the buyer wouldn't know they were cheated until they, let the cat out of the bag. They opened the sack, and the fraud was exposed for everyone to see.
And it all clicks into place. The meaning to accidentally reveal a secret, it comes from that history of deception and sudden exposure.
Often embarrassing exposure. That's why the example from the sources works so well. We tried to keep the party a secret, but John let the cat out of the bag.
It wasn't planned. It was an accident that revealed the truth.
Right. Now, what about the opposite? Instead of an accidental leak, you're looking for the most reliable information possible.
That brings us straight to our second phrase. Straight from the horse's mouth.
And again, the literal image is just silly. You're not actually listening to a horse talk. But the history is, again, all about commerce and checking the facts.
So what's the origin story on this one?
This comes directly from the world of horse trading. The only, and I mean only, reliable way to know a horse's real age and its health was to check its teeth.
You had to physically look inside the horse's mouth.
You had to. Everything else could be a lie. The seller's claims, some piece of paper, but the teeth don't lie.
So getting it straight from the horse's mouth meant you were getting it from the one source that was undeniable.
Yeah.
The physical proof.
Exactly. It's all about authority and truth. It's how you cut through rumors, like in the source example. I know the company is merging. I heard it straight from the horse's mouth.
Meaning you heard from the CEO or you saw the official press release.
You went to the source. No question.
Okay, fantastic. So we've gone from revealing information to confirming it. Now let's talk about actively avoiding it with our third idiom, beat around the bush.
This one is maybe a bit more visually intuitive. If you're beating around a bush, you're hitting the edges, not the center.
You're avoiding the main point. You're talking about everything except the one thing we need to discuss.
Yes. And the history is related to avoidance, too. Originally, it was about hunting. You'd have hunters beating the bushes to flush out the game.
Okay.
But the person doing the beating wasn't the one going in for the kill. They were staying on the perimeter, avoiding the real danger in the center.
So today, it's a conversational avoidance. You're avoiding a difficult or awkward topic.
Precisely. And that example, stop beating around the bush and tell me what you really think, that's a direct demand for someone to stop avoiding and get to the point.
You know, if you put these three together, the cat, the horse, and the bush, it creates a really clear picture.
It's a triangle of communication, isn't it?
It is. You've got accidental exposure with the cat. You have definitive authority with the horse.
Right.
And then you have intentional avoidance with the bush.
And grouping them like that is what makes it stick. You stop thinking about animals and start thinking about the function of the conversation you're in.
Exactly. Are you getting direct info? Is someone stalling? Was a surprise ruined? The context tells you which idiom fits.
That's the real shortcut.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, speaking of states, let's shift gears. We're moving from external communication to our internal states. Our second category, body and mind.
This is all about health, mood, mental condition.
And the first one is probably one you hear all the time when someone's just a little bit sick, under the weather.
Right. And again, literally absurd. You're not standing underneath a cloud.
Yeah.
But this one has a really cool origin story from the sea.
It's a maritime phrase.
It is. Think about it. When a sailor got sick, maybe seasick or just unwell, where did they go?
Below deck.
Below deck. To get shelter, they were sent literally under the weather, away from the wind and the rain and the rough seas.
So being under the weather meant you were taking yourself out of action, resting, because you were feeling ill.
And it still has that exact feeling today. It signals a mild illness, enough to make you change your plans. I think I'll stay home tonight. I'm feeling a bit under the weather.
It's polite. It explains why you're withdrawing without getting into, too much detail.
Exactly.
Now let's contrast that immediately with its complete opposite, peak physical health. Fit as a fiddle.
This is a great one. Because at first the words seem so random. Why a fiddle? A violin? What's so healthy about that?
I always just assumed it was because you had to be pretty active to play one, but that feels like a bit of a stretch.
You're on the right track with the idea of being ready for activity. But the origin is probably more about the word fit, meaning well-suited or well-tuned.
Interesting.
Think of a violin that's perfectly in tune, the strings are just right. It's ready to perform at its peak. It's in its optimal state.
So it's not about the player. It's about the instrument itself being in perfect working order. A high-performing system.
That's the idea. So to be fit as a fiddle is to be in exceptionally good health, full of vigor. It's why the example about the 80-year-old grandmother works so well. She is still fit as a fiddle.
It implies a kind of durable, robust health.
It really does.
Okay, so we've covered feeling a bit sick and being in perfect health. What about not being in your right mind? What if you're so healthy you decide to go swimming in a blizzard?
Then you might be accused of being off one's rocker.
I love this one. The visual is so clear.
It is. A rocker is simply that curved piece of wood on a rocking chair.
And if you are off your rocker,
the chair is tipped over, it's unstable, it's not working, it's unbalanced. And that physical instability is a direct metaphor for mental instability.
It's a pretty harsh way to say someone is acting crazy or irrational.
It's very strong. The example drives that home. You're going out in this blizzard, you must be off your rocker. It's a judgment on behavior that seems totally illogical.
So again, we have a clear spectrum. If you're feeling sick, you're under the weather, seeking shelter. If you're running a 5K every morning, you're fit as a fiddle, perfectly tuned.
Right.
And if you're doing something dangerous and nonsensical, you're off your rocker, completely unstable.
That contrast really helps lock the meanings in place.
It does. All right, we are moving fast, which is great. Let's get to our final category. This one is life situations.
So things that happen to us and how we react.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Events and boundaries. And we'll start with a phrase for a very specific, surprising event. Speak of the devil.
The components here are so dramatic. Speak and the devil. Why are we invoking evil just because Dave from accounting walked in?
It does seem a little extreme.
The origin is pure superstition. There was this old belief that if you spoke the name of a powerful being, especially a malevolent one, you could actually summon them.
So you're basically saying, whoa, we were just talking about you, and here you are. It's like we conjured you up.
Precisely. It's an acknowledgement of a really uncanny coincidence, but today, of course, it's used in a very light, humorous way.
Right. No one actually thinks they've summoned a demon.
Hopefully not. But the example shows that light tone. Speak of the devil. We were just talking about your new car. It's just an expression of surprise at the timing.
Okay. Moving from a surprising event to a difficult one. Our next idiom is more of a straightforward metaphor, a bitter pill.
This one doesn't need as much deep historical digging because the image is so universal. We all know medicine often tastes awful.
But you have to take it to get better.
Right, and that physical unpleasantness of swallowing something foul for your own good translates directly to the figurative meaning.
So it's a fact or a situation that's really unpleasant and hard to accept, but you have to.
You have to swallow it. That verb is key. It emphasizes the pain of the acceptance. Like in the source example, failing the exam after so much study was a bitter pill to swallow.
It's not just that you failed, it's the difficulty of accepting that reality.
Exactly, the emotional struggle.
All right, and for our final idiom, we're talking about setting limits, a crucial life skill. And the phrase is, draw a line.
The literal image here is just so powerful. Drawing a line in the sand on a map, it's about creating a clear physical boundary.
A point of no return.
Yes. And conversationally, it does the same thing. It sets a non-negotiable limit. It means this far and no further.
It feels very final.
It's meant to. It's not a negotiation. It's a statement. The definition is to set a limit on what one will allow or accept. And the example about money is perfect. I don't mind helping, but I have to draw a line at lending him money.
That line is a firm boundary. It's not moving.
And that's its power.
So there we have it, 9 essential idioms. We've cracked that idiom equation across communication, our internal states, and life situations.
And the key every single time was getting past the literal words and finding the story, the why,
Right.
the narrative behind the horse's teeth or the cat in the bag.
That's what makes it stick. You don't have to memorize the definition if you understand the story.
The story is everything. It gives you that aha moment that just cements the knowledge. You stop translating and start understanding.
Which brings us to the key takeaway for your idiom toolkit. The big rule is, don't translate word for word.
Never.
When you hear a phrase that sounds weird, just pause. Acknowledge the absurdity of the literal image and then ask yourself, what is this phrase doing?
Is it revealing something? Is it avoiding something? Is it setting a limit? Focus on the function, the action. That is the real shortcut to mastery.
And now for our final thought. The challenge to make sure this all moves from just theory into practice.
The homework.
The homework. We challenge you to use just one of these 9 phrases in a real conversation this week. Application is what makes it real.
Go on, tell someone to stop beating around the bush, see what happens.
Or if someone shows up unexpectedly, try to speak of the devil. The more you use them, the more they become a natural part of your own language.
That's how fluency really happens. One story, one phrase at a time.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.